All right, everyone, I'm Rochelle Wilhite, the designated broker of Best Choice Realty, and tonight we're going to cover Real Geeks basics. I have done this, but it's been a few years, and so the recording on YouTube is probably very outdated. So I'm excited tonight to have Rachel join us and a few other friends who are going to help me in training some of the workshops. Obviously, if I have more hands on deck, it's really helpful when you're coming into the office and you have questions about Real Geeks. But tonight's all about the basics, and I'm going to teach you the basics so that you can then work your Real Geeks CRM. Or if you're working another CRM, you have the ability to sync it up. And there are some tips and tricks to make that happen. So let's go to the next slide. I've got a full 30 minutes. If you have questions as I talk, just send it in the chat if you could. We might have some time for a little Q&A at the very end, but I do want to have time to get through the content tonight. So thank you for your patience. So on the screen, you see a search. And I thought it would be important to show you at least kind of why we are using Real Geeks at Best Choice Realty. And the number one reason we're using Real Geeks is because of the SEO. I have used Real Geeks for now over 12 years. And so it is the SEO friendly. It's got a lot more length. And when Google looks at different websites, they look to see how long a CRM or a website provider has been around, especially with IDX. And so that's why, even though Candace might be using a different CRM or a different website, maybe her own website, she spent the money and time, we still, even when I search CandaceFrazier.com or I search Candace Frazier in a Google search, notice that Choice Homes for Sale, the website that we created for Candace way back when she joined Best Choice, it comes up to the top of the search results. And then you can see CandaceFrazier.com, and then you can see her Facebook and her LinkedIn. And if you kind of scrolled all the way down, you'd see all of the other places that Candace Frazier can be found. So she definitely has drowned out all of those other types of websites or other Candace Fraziers that are out there. And that's one of the reasons we are still using Real Geeks. Let's go to the next slide. So we created, and those of you who are in production, or you are new to Best Choice, we have created a Real Geeks website, so a front-end facing website. Now, if you want to have your own domain and you want to get credit for all of this, that's very helpful. You would have to buy your own domain name, and we could connect that up. That's something separate that my operations team can help you with. But what you see here is what we built for Candace Frazier right when she started at Best Choice. There are some customizations. There are some things that we can do. But you can see it's very user-friendly for the consumer. So when somebody types in Candace Frazier or Best Choice Realty, Candace Frazier, she would get credit for this lead. They would log in, they would search for a property, and then it would actually go into her CRM, her back-end system. Now, if she's using a different CRM system, no problem. We have it routed that way. But there are a few things she would have to do on her settings to make that happen. Let's go to the next slide, Shannon. Thank you very much. So there are three things that I get asked a lot. Number one is, how do I adjust my settings? Maybe you have a Real Geeks and you've received the introductory email and you're getting maybe too many emails, not enough emails. You're going to want to adjust your settings. And on the left-hand side of the slide, you see that there is settings, profile, notifications, integrations, editing the website. You won't have the ability to edit your website. You'll have to come to us to edit your website through Real Geeks. Communications, calendar, and customization. All of those things are in your settings tab. But simply when I created Maverick Wilhite, Maverick's my son. Many of you know him from using some of the other trainings that we have had at Best Choice. But I went ahead today and put him in, just like all of you might have an account, or you never have used Real Geeks, or you never have accessed Real Geeks. I went ahead and gave him the basics. So he would have to go in here and put in his email signature, how he wants his autoresponder, things like that. He would need to adjust in his settings. Let's go to the next slide. The other thing that you on your settings, you'll want to scroll down. And if you guys are trying to kind of pay attention here today, I am going to go through this on a real live one, but I want to give you the high level of some of the most commonly asked questions on the Real Geeks basics. On the settings, you'll scroll down and he has enable account notifications, deleting. These are the things that I've given permission to all of you to do. Now that has to do with the admin. So we are allowing our agents at Best Choice Realty to obviously have an account, and it does not cost them anything extra. Congratulations for signing up on Best Choice Realty. You will not have to pay for this. You'll actually get the ability to use our CRM system because of the relationship that I've established with Real Geeks. Notifications will be turned on, so you'll be able to adjust your notification settings. You also will be able to delete leads. So if you've entered maybe some in and you're like, I got to delete this and start fresh, or you have somebody that says, take me, I want to be removed. I don't want to have to get those nasty gram emails or text messages from you. I am allowing you, and I trust that you're going to delete real leads that should be deleted. You will be able to export. I don't control your leads. Once those leads are yours, those are your leads. I don't steal your leads like maybe other companies have in the past. And you do have the ability to export into, say, another CRM. So I do allow you to have that. You also have the ability to e-blast, meaning you can schedule several leads to have a newsletter or to have a mass communication, and it's done appropriately through Real Geeks, through their system. But I do give you those permissions that you see here on the screen. You won't be able to be a team leader or an admin. Those are all reserved for me. I'm the only one in the office that has that access point, so that there is some integrity in the system that we're running here. Let's go to the next slide. So number one asked question, how do I adjust my notifications? Maybe I'm getting notified every day to check my Real Geeks. If you want to go into Real Geeks and just uncheck, I don't need to be notified daily to check my CRM, but maybe you may want to be to keep you accountable for checking your CRM. In your settings, that is where you would go in, and Shannon's on the screen right there. It says daily follow-up reminders. That's where I'd have to check the box or uncheck the box if I didn't want to be notified daily by email or by text to check my Real Geeks. But if leads are added to the pond, I can certainly check that box and I'll be notified. I would go ahead and uncheck all of those boxes, but this is where you can control that. If you're getting too many messages from Real Geeks, this would be where you would go in and uncheck the boxes. On this particular one, it looks like Maverick is going to be notified by text and by email, so that's a little bit too much. He's going to probably want to adjust his settings and only be notified on certain things. Next slide. How do I load my list? That's another thing that I get a lot of questions about when they're using the system. So you'll want to go into Real Geeks, and then you will have two options. It's a little plus sign. It's not very big. It's that green new lead. It says right there. If I wanted to add, just say somebody I met at the grocery store, I would click the plus sign on the left side, Shannon. There we go. The little plus sign, it's always usually in the upper right-hand corner of the website. But that's where you could go in, and then the screen on the right where it says new lead, that's what you're going to have to fill in. Their name, their phone number, their email address, their phone number. If you happen to enter in an email address that maybe is in Shannon's website, maybe she actually had loaded that particular client in as her lead, and you'll get an error message. If somebody had used an email or a phone number that was identical, the system will give you an error message that will say, contact your admin support. Guess what? Your admin support is me. So if you have a concern or you have an issue with a lead that maybe you're trying to enter in and it's not taking, or for whatever reason it's saying it's assigned to somebody else, just give me a call or send me an email or a text. I will be happy to go into the ultimate database, locate the situation, and make a determination or let you know exactly what will happen or how it will need to proceed. Again, we're very fair in how we handle those situations, so we'll need to look into it a little bit closely. But it happens once in a while. I maybe get 3 to 5 requests a month for people that need to have me go in as an admin and look at that particular lead and why it's not taking. You'll want to put the type as a buyer or seller, and the source you can enter in sphere or center of influence, COI. That way, that is your lead and it will stay and remain your lead. If it comes from a different source, you run the risk that somebody may have a claim to it if it's their sphere of influence. We obviously give preference to sphere of influence where there's a relationship versus an online lead. So be sure that you have entered your sphere of influence into your database. And if you have problems, you can let me know. The next thing you can do, if say you have more than, if I had to do 10 or 15 sphere of influence, it would take me less than a half an hour, you guys. It's super easy to do one by one, just by clicking the new lead plus sign and entering their name, phone number, and email. Doesn't take much time at all. In fact, I can do it from my mobile phone, and that's very easy to do. If I have more than 10, then it's probably easier to do a bulk import. And the bulk import is right down, it's actually in the new lead. You'll see right next to new lead, there's a little button, and it also has a green plus sign that says bulk import. What you'll see is down below on the screen here, where it says 1, 2, 3, 4, it's some steps, and you have to format your CSV or your Excel file in a certain way. If you're like me, and Candace and I both joke, we're kind of I would say Excel dummies. We probably should read. We're not real geeks. We're not geeks as far as Excel goes. So we would probably opt, if we had a larger list, we'd probably want to go and get some support at Real Geeks. You can email support@realgeeks.com and they will upload your list for you. So you can bypass me altogether and they can import your sphere of influence, your database, your list that you maybe bought from a title company, whatever you have, you're trying to import into your CRM, and they can upload that for you by sending an email to support@realgeeks.com. So you got a couple options. You can do it yourself with the bulk import, or you can do it one by one, or you can simply email. Those are your three options for uploading into the CRM. Let's go to the next slide. The third one, which I think a lot of you are here for, and I'm very happy to see we have a good attendance on tonight's webinar, is you want to know how to get your fishing license so you can start fishing in the BCR pond. I have been stocking the pond and getting it ready to go. In fact, there's more to do before those dates on the calendar there. So at the September 20th, September 27th, and September 28th, you can see the times and locations listed there. If you're outside of those locations within reason, we are doing a special Zoom for Spokane, Idaho, Yakima, Sequim, Vancouver, some of those areas where it's a drive to get into one of those three locations. We are going to do a special Zoom for those particular agents at Best Choice, but it is going to be mandatory in order for you to get your fishing license to qualify for the LEAD program. At these events, we're going to show you how to set up workflows, how to get the best response, how to utilize text messaging, and make sure that if you have to do some adjustments for your settings, we can help you with that, but you have to have the basics done tonight. So I want to give you enough time between now and the 20th, as I'm filling the pond full of leads, that you can get your settings and kind of acclimate yourself to the overall CRM system. And in whatever way you're using the CRM, that we have a good plan moving forward so that we can ensure that those leads that you're going to fish for in the pond are well taken care of. I know you guys are, I'm trusting a lot, and they are going to be free. So there is not going to be a split on any of these, at least for the time being. I'm not sure how long we'll let this go, but at least for the rest of the year, I think many of us are looking for opportunities, and this would be another way to have opportunities to work internet leads. And leads that maybe come into our website and maybe come into our front door, we will be going ahead and allocating those into the pond. They are going to be in a pond based on the counties. So if you're in King County, Pierce County, Snohomish County, Kitsap County, that's the way we've set up the pond so that we have several ponds essentially that you can fish from. Let's go to the next slide, Shannon. So I want you to try out, we're going to actually go through Maverick and give you the basics on what I would do if you were a new user to Real Geeks. Before I do that, you're going to want to write this website down. This is the main website that will access your CRM. Even if you are using, say, Follow Up Boss or Chime or any of these other types of websites, maybe you're using a BombBomb or something we could integrate Real Geeks with, you will need to get access to leads.realgeeks.com so that you can adjust your settings and make sure that you're getting the appropriate notifications and the syncing is happening correctly to whatever website or device you're using. So you're going to need to access leads.realgeeks.com. So when you go to leads.realgeeks.com, you're going to be asked to provide a login and a password. Your login is always your email address. And I use your email address that when you register with Best Choice Realty on your documents, when you maybe join Best Choice Realty, if you've had a change to your email address or you're having issues logging in, definitely let us know. You can send an email to support@bestchoicerealtywa.com and we'll help you in maybe getting that troubleshooted if it's been a long time since you've logged in. I'm going to be honest with you. When I checked about a month and a half ago, there was not a lot of people had logged into their Real Geeks in a long time. And since Lori sent out that email saying, let's fish in the pond, all of a sudden that tripled the amount of attention that Real Geeks has received. Real Geeks also did a presentation on our anniversary and also promised to deliver and help me in providing leads into our pond so that we could actually test their system for them. So I'm doing a lot of training and giving back to the company. And so for that, they're also supplying us with some leads that are coming through Google pay-per-click, Facebook marketing, Instagram marketing, and some of those other websites that they are putting ads on. And it's great because we have a good exposure all across Washington. And so all of us that are licensed with Best Choice Realty have an opportunity to fish in the pond and use Real Geeks as a CRM system. So to set it up, once you log in, and if you were like, gosh, I don't remember my password, or maybe you didn't get a password or you've lost it, all you have to do is put your login as your email address and then click forget password and they will email you a new password. And then you can go into your settings and change your password. I don't have access, unfortunately, to your password. The only thing I can do to fix your login situation would be to reset your login, like your email address. That's the only thing I have access to. I can't touch your password. Your password is your own password. You'll get Let's Set Up Your CRM. It's a one-stop shop for monitoring lead behavior. Go ahead to the next. We're going to go through this so you can actually see a real live one. This is what you'd have if it's your first time using it. You'll have to read and agree to the terms of use and the texting terms and conditions. That's a new thing that they are having us do with the texting terms and conditions. Click on next. Can you scroll down a little bit, Shannon? I think my screen is either the button's kind of tucked behind. Maybe it's my view. There we go. Make it a little bit smaller so I can see the button. There we go. Perfect. Choose an email provider. So many of you use different email providers. Most of the Best Choice Realty is either using Microsoft or Google. That tends to be the most. If you are using another provider, they're going to give you instructions. We're going to go ahead and sign in with Google, and then you'll click continue. You'll sync up your email so that you can actually use your CRM to actually send emails and receive emails. Click on sign in. I'm not going to do that because otherwise poor Maverick would be very confused. Click on continue. The other thing that's going to do in the setup is the iCal feed. And that's what, if you're going to set up reminders to follow up with certain leads or set appointments, you'll want it to sync with your calendar. That's what that will do if you set up the iCal feed. Click continue. Review your email signature. So they're going to actually suggest. Now on this one, remove the Choice Homes for Sale if you have your own domain name, and you're going to want to put your own website underneath. So he'd have maverickwillhite.com, which would be what he would do. Okay. All right, click continue. Then you want to download the CRM app on either your iPhone or your Google, and that will actually it'll send the link so he can put it on his phone pretty easily. Click continue. And then I'm into the dashboard. This is what you'll see, and then it will set up a setup checklist. I'm going to skip the setup because I'm going to go right in and I'm going to show you guys the things that we need to do. We're going to remind us in a week. Yeah, remind me in a week. There we go. Or a day. That's great. And then we're going to look, see, he's got a blank canvas. He's got a blank dashboard with no leads. And he's like, I want to play in the pond today. So he would go into his leads. And then he's got a lead list and he's got a buyer list. And that's where he would see his pond, where he'd see leads. But he doesn't have access to the pond because he has not put a lead into the system. One of the things you have to do is you actually have to know how to put a lead in. So you'll want to go in and create a lead. Perfect. And then you'll see ponds. Ponds is where you can actually claim the lead. So here you'll see Deborah up in the top right below ponds. You can see Spokane, Yakima, Pierce, King, Kitsap, Mason, Whatcom, Clallam, Jefferson. They're all based on the the actual counties that you would collect the leads. So we're right now in the Thurston Lewis County. We're gonna actually look at that. We're in the one right here, it's fine. King County, there's one that we can claim. We're gonna click on this one that's 4 days ago, and it's no name, no name, no name. Click on claim. So this was 1 hour ago, bad contact information. This would be an example where you may not see that one claimed. That might be a bad fish, maybe a little fish. We're gonna play with it in training today so you can see what the system looks like. And also so we don't get flagged by some of our good friends over at YouTube. We wanna make sure that we have a no-name kind of situation here for a pilot or for a test. So you can see how the interface works when you actually claim one of the leads. It's going to look like this. This got a refresh. For those of you who have not used Real Geeks in a while, they actually have a classic version, which is not as user-friendly. This is very nice because at the top, you can do all of the activities right at the top, either the phone, the text, the email. You can log that you've made contact with the lead, and you can make that note right there and click save, and then it's done. So we can click on bad phone number, and we could put a little note, click save, done. So I claimed the lead, but it's also logging that I made a phone call. Over on the right-hand side, you'll want to schedule a follow-up, and it's already setting up a pre-selected, any of the leads that are in the pond are already going to remind you to do a few phone calls. So it's going to remind you, in this case, the follow-up has been done because there was not a good phone number. So I can just check the box right there. But I could add another, like maybe I want to follow up and remind myself to send an email. I could do that by quickly, there you go, and just send an email. And then I'll remind myself to do that today. Okay, now I'm on to, I got a showing appointment, so I've got to run. But you'll notice that the workflow has already been set up. If the lead responds to you and says, I don't want to get this stuff anymore, take me off your list, those types of emails, you can't unsubscribe for the workflows just by clicking that button right there. But the number one thing you want to do with any lead that you claim from the pond is you want to go up and set them up, if they have not done it already themselves, for a saved search. So we're going to go ahead and click add. Okay. On this 8, it says Pierce's account has been deleted. We deleted that lead, so we're going to go back. We're going to go back. we gamed ourselves, Shannon, there.
Getting good practice, I guess.
Yep. So we're going to go grab a pond. Let's claim that one 3 days ago. That works. And we're going to go in and see how this lead actually had looked in King County. That's why they got put into that pond. And they set up their search for daily notifications. First off the bat, I would change it to weekly. In Seattle and Washington, they don't want to get daily, they want weekly. And I'm going to want to view it and edit it if necessary. So every lead that you claim from the pond should have some sort of search. But this one that we're logged in for Gail, if we click on it and we search for it and save it, it's going to be anything that's 4 bedrooms, but she does not have a limit. And so she's probably getting quite a bit on 18th Ellensburg. That's a neighborhood that she's searching for. We're going to uncheck the neighborhood, and we're going to only do Bellevue. And then we're going to save it. And we're going to see 4-bedroom homes. We want to view it. Click the view. And it looks like she has 115 properties. Now, 115 is pretty close to the amount that I want you to provide a new user. 115 gets them several emails in a week, gives them enough pretty properties that they can view. I've been taught to do this for this is my definitely 12 plus years I've been working internet leads, and they want to have their search set up in such a way where your initial search gets about 50 to 150 properties when you initially set it up. And the idea behind that theory is that you want them to get enough properties that whet their appetite. And so as you start to contact them and you work with them, even by email, if I didn't even have a phone number to contact this lead, I would then be able to refine her search in such a way where maybe over time we get that number down to more like 30 and 50, and then we're out touring properties. So we start with about 50 to 150, give or take, depending on the area that you're working and what's available. with this being 115, this is perfect. So we're going to go ahead and save this search, and we're going to label it for her. Go ahead and save it. There's a little plus sign on the left, Shannon. And then we're going to label it, and we can delete the other one that she may have set up, but we're going to just go ahead and set this up for her. Bellevue Properties, Bellevue Homes, 4-bedroom homes is what she had set up. And then you could say unlimited price. You would usually like under 500 or something like that. This will be the name that you label is the subject line of the notification that she gets on a weekly basis. So if she's getting a weekly email from you every week that says Bellevue Properties unlimited price, and she's like, dang, Shannon is really on this, or Maverick is really on this, she's going to be intrigued and she's going to keep coming back to the website, and then you'll be able to convert this lead into an actual client. So that's saved, and we might want to go in and look at that. She just looks like we edited that one. So that actually didn't duplicate. They fixed that. That used to be a problem in the past. There's only one saved search, and we kind of curtailed it a little bit. And I think it's perfectly set up. And that is what we're going to need to do for any lead that's logged in and claimed from the pond. We need to save a search for them, so they start to get some activity or some pretty properties. The other thing we want to make sure we do is we send them an email, we make a phone call attempt, and we send them a text. If we've done those 3 things, then we are good to go. And this is our lead, and we'll be notified to follow up with this lead because of the speed to lead workflow that's set up automatically for this lead. So that's all you'll have to do, and then you can go back to fish for some more if you're ready to go for another one. Okay, and this button right there, if we clicked on email lead, that will go right in. See how it's hi Gail. We may want to set up some templates. We will help you with those templates. We've already tested many templates already. So if you come into one of the workshops, we will be helping you know what to say, what emails that work the best, what is the theory, what's the text message, what is the protocol for these leads, and giving you some tips and tricks of the best that will help you in converting these types of leads from the pond. So Shannon's just hurrying and getting something done real quick, just so we can get something there, but you'll have some templates that we'll have set up that will make it easier for you to convert those leads. On the left-hand side, Shannon can also, once she gets a hold of Gail, then she may want to go ahead and put that lead out. It's in her pond. It's exclusive to her, so not anybody else can claim it. But over on the left-hand side, she can put important notes. So maybe she talks to her and finds out that she's looking for something. She can put that right there in her account. Down below, she can also, don't save it, Shannon, keep going down. She can also put some important dates or tag it if she's got maybe a lender that's working that lead. She could go ahead and put that birthday. She could put that tag of what it is. We're not going to do that. Scroll down, and all of these little things, you see those 6 little bubbles, Shannon? You could actually drag that up. So say you wanted to bring that up, that secondary contact maybe up, she can drag that up on her dashboard, and that will save on her dashboard. That might make it easier for you as you're working your lead. If you want that up closer to the new lead, that's very easy to do. Scroll down. The one thing I love, though, as I start to grow my database to be able to determine, which is my sphere of influence versus which ones are my hot ones. Scroll down. There's another bucket. No, it's on the highlights, I think. Still on the left side. There we go. Keep going down. Important dates. Keep going down. Tags. It's right below tags, I believe. Secondary source website. So that would actually categorize where it came from. So that would show you that it was your sphere of influence or where the lead came from. Maybe it came from Google pay-per-click. This one came from Facebook. So it actually tracks where that ad was placed. It also, if you go up, beds, bath, I think it's what I'm looking for is like hot, warm, and cold. When I start to have conversation. Nope, it's on the left-hand side. It's under the about maybe. Yeah, it's under about. Time frame, status, urgency. There we go. So if I have a conversation with her, I'm not going to do it, and I find out she's looking for a 4-bedroom, she has to be within a certain price range, I put them in a hot, warm, or cold category. If I've had a conversation, she's like, Rochelle, I'm not looking to buy in the next 6 months. In fact, I'm just looking. That might go in my cold category, but I still want to keep her on those typical drips, at least on a monthly follow-up campaign. That would be cold. But if she's somewhere in the year, hot and warm would be the appropriate categories. And if I've had a conversation, I'm going to want to put her in one of those categories, because what will happen is if I have a conversation and then I get onto the next lead and the next lead and the next lead, it's going to flag it when I go back to all of my leads. If I go back to leads, Shannon, and I go to the lead list, I'll show what I mean by that. See how these are all Shannon's leads that are here. Some of them have phone numbers. If I go back and I put her in hot, you'll notice that it's specially tagged. So it makes it really easy for her to know that this lead is in her hots. And there's Gail. See how she's marked as hot? That's how that shows up. And then Shannon can go ahead and set up special searches so she can identify all of her hot people, and she can look at those at a glance. So she can really spend the time and the energy with the people that are really, people are going to be doing something. And then she's got everybody else on workflows, drips, monthly emails, and they're getting those pretty properties that are coming through the website automatically. There is a way to mass email. There's a quick checkbox. So there's a checkbox on the right, and there's bulk action up there on the right, and you could e-blast. Very easy to do through Real Geeks. And you just want to make sure that it's in the currently the checked or in your search. And then you would have to create whatever you want to blast out to them. You can do video. So many people have asked me, can I do video? Yes, you can. You can create a video. They have their own video you can embed through Real Geeks. So you can do much more than you probably have in the past. Real Geeks has gotten several upgrades over the years. So there are those options here. So that's kind of the overview of the Real Geeks, but I want to go back and fix the settings on Mavericks. So if we can go back to Mavericks and we'll get him his settings fixed. We'll see if we can do that for you. And that was the quick and dirty 30-minute training. So hopefully that was helpful. While I'm helping Maverick get his settings fixed, I'm going to, open it up. So make sure there's some chats if you have some questions, but definitely see he's got custom. I want to go ahead and make sure his check marks, he only has check marks when he wants to get new leads. Seller leads, that's fine. He's going to want to just get text messages. So uncheck all the emails. And then he's going to want to check the text alerts. He wants to use the system through text. Okay. Again, it could be your choosing. If you're more of an email person, you can do it the other way. That's what he wants. And he wants to not be reminded on follow-up reminders. He's just going to check his CRM system daily. So that's what, so you can uncheck that on the follow-up reminders. He doesn't want to be reminded on that, which is the bottom check mark on the bar bottom. There we go. So that's the way he's going to want it, but you can actually use this as a way to remind you. So let's go to the next one on the left, notifications. Integrations is the next one. So integrations is what you're going to want to select if you're using another CRM system. You're going to want to check your integrations. These are your API, and this is how you connect, say you're using Bold, or you're using like Realtor.com and you want it to come. Those are the integrations to bring it into Real Geeks. If you want it to go to a different system, that's on the right-hand side. That's like API Nation, BombBomb, Dotloop, Follow Up Boss, Mojo, Velocity, Wise Agent, Zapier, and then there's a Leads API. So those are the types of things you would need if you're using Chime or you're using BombBomb, you're using some of those other types of systems. You're going to need to come here to the integrations through settings and learn how to set it up. And there are documents and helpful tutorials that will help you if you run into difficulty. If you have issues, I'm certainly willing to help you with that to make sure that your integration is set up. I don't want you guys coming into training and not knowing how to use some sort of CRM to work those leads that you grab from the pond. The edit the website. You won't have access to edit your website through Real Geeks. That's something that we control within Best Choice. But you can control your communications on the left, Shannon. I'm going down the list there, the notifications we kind of talked about already. That's how you can customize what you're notified on. Integrations would be how you route the leads to wherever you're going to work them. The communications is how you control the communications through Real Geeks, Gmail, and then the calendar and the customize. That's it. So it's pretty simple and intuitive. I think there was a few questions that came in, so let's go ahead to the question and answer here. How much does the CRM system cost? A lot. It's a handful. I pay for the dues every single month. I do have to pay for quite a bit. I do pay for lead generation. I do pay for lead advertising. I do promote Best Choice Realty. I do promote our company, and I do pay for the routing and Real Geeks. The cost for you, if you're using Real Geeks, is zero. You'll just pay for the startup fee to get access. So by joining Best Choice Realty, there was a startup fee that was associated with that. And so you've already paid. If you've already paid your startup fee, we've already created your landing page and your website. The only thing we may need to do is have to connect some things to make your domain name work. So if you have not done that in a while, or maybe you're revisiting Real Geeks, you'll want to connect with us, and you can send an email to support@realgeeks.com, and we can assist you with setting up your domain name and making that connection work. If you have questions about that, we can certainly help you within the office. Let's see, another question. How much does the system? Okay, the pawn will be turned on for you. You already answered that question. Go ahead. What was the other question, Shannon?
No, that's it. If they have any issues, contact you.
Yeah, if you have any questions about the pawn, contact me. Text message is fine.
You won't see pawns. So you won't see pawns, you guys, until you attend the in-person workshop.
You saw that Maverick he didn't put a lead into the system, so you have to be able to know how to put a lead into the system, and you need to be able to do that and show us that you can do that before you'll be activated. The pawn will be activated. And once you do that, let's say Shannon has 100 leads in her system, so we already know that Shannon knows how to use the system, then you'll see the pawn that shows up right below her name. And it's under, if you want to go and show that, Shannon, that would be good.
Yeah, and then these, I was asking for the dates. These are the dates for the in-person workshop. So you guys can get access to the pawn.
20th, 27th, 28th. If you want to get a jump start on it and put a lead into your system and kind of work through, the pawn's there. I've got some leads that are in the pond, depending on what county you're working and all of that. So we can, if you want to get a jump start and kind of get your setup done and kind of familiarize yourself, you have to be able to know how to enter leads into the database and be able to work your own sphere of influence before you can get access to the pond. That's a restriction that we placed on all of the Real Geeks accounts. So if you want to do that, that would be helpful. And then if you come into one of the workshops, we will give you emails, access to scripts, things that will help you in conversion of the pond. We've already tested things out for the last 6 months, so we know what works the best to convert some of these leads, even old stuff, you guys. I've converted stuff that was actually in the database from 10 years ago. And I've been able to convert that into an actual showing request just by a series of emails. So even if the phone number is not valid, the email address is, we still have a way of communicating and getting those leads to respond just by simple things like creating an account for them, setting up a home search for them. Those notifications, those weekly notifications do work very, very well. And that will start to prompt activity as we start to cultivate the pond. Somebody asked, is Real Geeks better than Chime? I'm not going to answer that question. I think that a CRM is only good as you use it. And if you're used to using Chime or Follow Up Boss, or you're used to using Boomtown, or you're used to using some other like Wise Agent, I use Wise Agents, I've used Top Producer, I've used so many CRMs. Your CRM is only as good as how you use it. So if you're used to using a CRM that you've used for many, many years, I wouldn't try to deviate. But if you're like looking for a fresh start, maybe I want to reset myself and kind of get myself going again. It doesn't get better than free. I don't know about you, but when we're trying to cut expenses and cut some maybe lead spends, or maybe I was trying bold leads for a while. I was talking with an agent from Windermere today. We recruited him. He's excited about joining Best Choice Realty. he's like looking at this, he's like, use bold. Once he saw Real Geeks, he's like, it's no different, really. It's kind of has the same concept. I just have to get used to a new interface. And so a lot of it is just getting used to using a different interface. And if you're wanting to refresh and start something new, Real Geeks is a really good tool for that. I think we've got most of the questions answered. Candace, was there anything else I didn't cover that needed to be covered on tonight's call? Candace Frazier. Sorry to put you on the spot. Okay. I think that's it. Have a great evening, you guys. We'll
Hey,
look forward to seeing
Michelle,
you. Yep, Tara.
some people are getting emails that say things have been added to the pond. Can you talk to them about what those emails are?
You're going to probably want to go to notifications right away and turn it off, because you won't have access to the pond. Some people, if you do, you have access to the pond. Go in there and see what you can claim.
Okay, because I'm getting emails from different people asking about that. So,
okay,
perfect. Thanks.
Just go into so notifications, and there's a button you check to not be notified if something goes into the pond. Okay, so that's what you'll want to do, is uncheck that box. Because that's overwhelming, especially if I'm going to be putting thousands of leads in. You're going to get, your email box is going to blow up. So let's not do that. Let's go ahead and go into your settings and uncheck lead to be notified when a lead goes into the pond. That's probably something you want to do right away. Great question, Tara. So uncheck that box. Okay, anything else? All right. Thanks, you guys. Have a great week.